Good morning, everyone. I can report 15 new cases overnight, 11 of them linked, and the remaining 4 still under early investigation. 5 of them were in quarantine for their entire infectious period. We're aware that at least 8 have spent part of their infectious period in the community, and the balance are under investigation. The number of people in hospital has increased a little to 9. We have 1 person in intensive care requiring ventilation. Testing numbers were down a little yesterday to a little over 2,500. So again, if you have any symptoms, if you've been in any of the exposure sites during the times outlined on the website, please come forward for testing. On vaccination, yesterday the ACT reached the 75% milestone for first doses of our population 12 years and over, and about 51.5% of the 12 plus population have now received 2 doses of a vaccine. Pleasingly, I can report that as of yesterday, just over 97% of staff working in residential aged care had received at least their first dose of a vaccine ahead of the implementation of the mandatory vaccine requirement. Yesterday I spoke about COVID business support grants. The ACT Government has been able to work effectively with the Commonwealth Treasurer's Office to expand COVID business support grants and to create a new COVID-19 tourism accommodation provider, arts, events and hospitality grant. There will be an additional payment of ACT Government COVID-19 business grants, an extension of a further $10,000 for all employing businesses and $3,750 for non-employing businesses. This will be paid to all businesses who are eligible for the business support grant in industries that are still significantly impacted by the health restrictions. There will be additional one-off top-up payments also made for larger ACT businesses with higher turnovers. We will be discussing additional extensions to the Business Support Grant Program with Treasurer Frydenberg at our scheduled checkpoint on the 1st of October. There is recognition from both the ACT Government and the Commonwealth Government that businesses in the tourism, accommodation, hotels and motels, arts, events and hospitality industries have been hit hard, not only by the current restrictions in the ACT, but before then by the lockdowns in New South Wales and Victoria and the border closures to the ACT from other states and territories. So reflecting these impacts, a further series of one-off grants for local businesses in those sectors, tourism, accommodation, arts, events and hospitality, will be available. The eligibility criteria for these additional business payments will be the same as the COVID business support grant. Today the ACT Government released details of a major community support package. This funding will ensure that those most in need will continue to receive support, and in many instances support will be increased significantly. This package includes funding to expand the capacity of existing community services to deliver specialist homelessness programs that commenced during the COVID-19 pandemic. It increases the rate of community sector indexation that is applied to the annual funding for all community sector organisations under this model. This will assist community sector organisations across the ACT to meet higher wage costs following the recent Fair Work Commission decision to increase the minimum wage across the nation and all award wages by 2.5%. The additional funding will strengthen legal aid's capacity to represent, support and assist vulnerable members of our community. And this includes, and this is very important, more frontline support for victims of family violence, the elderly and for vulnerable witnesses. The There will be more support for vulnerable people in Canberra's multicultural communities, including the refugee, asylum seeker and humanitarian program that provides financial assistance for clients who hold an ACT service access card, and for the support of the resettlement of refugees, asylum seekers and humanitarian entrants living in the ACT. This package of support also provides significant increases across a number of emergency relief areas, including emergency food relief for those in need. It follows a range of COVID-19 economic support measures that have been previously announced, which include increased funding for mental health, crisis and emergency support, extending the Jobs for Canberrans program, emergency food relief, and the government's decision to provide a $1,000 rebate for 31,000 Canberra households on their utilities bills, their electricity, water and sewage bills. Work is continuing on an additional mental health support package, which will be announced in coming days. And as I said yesterday, this is a stressful time for everyone. It is okay to put your hand up and say that you're not okay at the moment. There are support services available and more funding will be provided to those services. Please reach out for help if you need it. For those who've joined late, a quick recap: 15 new cases, 11 of them linked, only 5 in quarantine during their entire infectious period. The number in hospital has increased to 9 and we have 1 person in intensive care.